This is the Southside School of Financial Freedom Market Report and Small Account Update for the week ending January 27th, 2024. The market finished higher last week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average increased 0.16% on Friday and was up 0.65% for the week. The S&P 500 decreased minus 0.07% on Friday but was up 1.06% for the week. The Nasdaq decreased minus 0.36% on Friday but was up 0.94% for the week. Looking at the week, we can see that there were 11 up finishes versus 4 down finishes for the major indexes. On Monday and Thursday, all the major indexes finished up. On Tuesday and Wednesday, the Dow Jones Industrial Average finished down, while the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq finished up. And on Friday, it was the Dow Jones Industrial Average that finished up, while the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq finished down. How did you do? My small account finished higher, 0.81%, and generated cash flow. Even when the market falls and or my account doesn't do well, I still get income or cash flow by selling covered calls and naked puts. This method does not only guarantee cash flow or income, it can also beat the S&P 500. I don't use charts, I don't use fundamental analysis, I don't use indicators or signals. I definitely don't sit in front of a computer screen all day to watch the market. I simply choose a stock from my watch list to sell covered calls and or naked puts. I do have 5 criteria for choosing stocks to put on my trading watch list. I will not reveal what my criteria are, but if you examine my list, you may be able to figure out the criteria for yourself. The last row, however, is my benchmark row. That is, I measure my performance against gold, silver, and the S&P 500. I choose the stock option based on whether I own the stock or I would like to own the stock. I choose a strike price, an expiration date, a bid, and I submit a limit order. Then I wait for execution. If the sale does not execute, I may change my order or wait until the next day to submit a new order. Looking at my watch list from last week, we can see that the strongest performer on the list was ChargePoint Holdings Incorporated, ticker symbol CHPT in the third column. It was down minus 1.02% on Friday, but increased 11.49% for the week. ChargePoint Holdings Incorporated provides electric vehicle charging networks and charging solutions in the United States and internationally. It offers a portfolio of hardware, software, and services for commercial fleet and residential customers. Looking at a summary of results, you can see that ChargePoint has decreased minus 17.09% year to date. I did not generate cash flow from ChargePoint this week. However, I generated cash flow from selling 4 other option contracts, 3 calls, and 1 put that ranged from $3.34 to $30.34. So on Monday, I sold a call for $10.34. On Wednesday, I sold a put for $30.34. And on Friday, I sold 2 calls, one for $3.34 and one for $8.34. That's a total of $52.36, which is not a lot of money, but the account is small, and $52.36 in cash flow was 1.38% of my account value. This money is free and clear. You can take it out of your account and spend it or leave it in to build your cash balance and or invest it. If you want to increase the amount of cash flow, just use a larger account amount. For example, to 10x the cash flow to $523.60, use a larger account, and instead of selling one of everything that I sold, sell 10. This strategy is guaranteed to produce cash flow immediately and every week that it is applied. However, it does not guarantee the amount of cash flow from week to week, nor the value of your account. The amount varies and the account value also varies. Despite the variations in amount and value, the goal is to generate cash flow and beat the S&P 500. And that is what I openly showing you every week as it happens. Note that most professional money managers and their strategies do not consistently beat the S&P 500. They usually lose, and they lose by a lot. Last year, this method beat the S&P 500 by about 12%. But in 2024, my account is down minus 19.72% versus 2.55% up for SPY, which is an S&P 500 ETF. That's a difference of 22.27%. So I am losing to the S&P 500 by more than 22% after the first 4 weeks of the new year. It is not unusual to beat the S&P 500 one year and then lose to the index the next year. Will I befall this same fate? Tune in next week to find out what happens. Bitcoin Watch. Bitcoin gained 0.93% this past week and is in a bull market, though it is down about minus 39% from its all-time high, which was achieved in November 2021. It is up 0.8%, so it is even so far this year. Some people believe that Bitcoin is really the only long-term investment you'll need. What do you say? What is your strategy? Do you know how to produce cash flow every week and beat the S&P 500? Or will you simply invest in Bitcoin? As you develop, analyze, and implement your strategy, please check back to see how my small account performs against the S&P 500 from week to week by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thanks.